On today's show, we explore how to make your life feel like an action movie or a fun game show, from Jurassic Park to Supermarket Sweep. So, grab your popcorn, get comfy, and silence your inner critic, because it's time to Movify your life. Welcome to the Movify Your Life show, the plot twist you've been waiting for. I'm your host, Jessica Grace Coleman, and through the Movify Your Life method, I'll show you how to step into the starring role of your story and create a life worth watching. Every Movify Monday, you'll learn how to turn everyday moments into unforgettable memories, activate your main character energy, and use cinematic tools to boldly chase your biggest dreams, like the movie star you truly are. Because when the credits roll, I want you to look back at your life like it's the greatest film ever made, full of meaning, magic, and most importantly, zero regrets. And because I truly believe everyone deserves to live an epic life fit for the big screen. So grab your popcorn, cue the music, and together, let's Movify your life.
The Movify your life show begins. Lift your spirit, let joy rush in. Feel the magic in the roar. Step on stage and ask for more.
Welcome to the Movify Your Life show. I'm your host, Chief Movifier and Director. I always laugh when I say that because it's so silly, but life should be silly. And Director of Movify Your Life. I'm Jessica Grace Coleman, and I start every episode by letting you know what I've been watching recently and if I would like to movify my life like that. And I have finished Wednesday. The second half of the second season came out on Netflix. I finished that. I enjoyed it. I really love Tim Burton. I love the Addams Family. I love gothic stuff, so it's perfect for me. Would I want to movify my life like that? I think I would enjoy going to that school. Looks pretty cool. But generally, I think I need it a bit less life-threatening-y. I also watched The Thursday Murder Club, a big fan of those books by Richard Osman. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it lacked some of the sort of full-on comedy of the books, like Joyce's Diary, if I remember. It's been a while since I read the books, especially the first one. But yeah, I think it lacked a bit of that. But no, it was enjoyable. I really, really enjoyed Pierce Brosnan's many accents rolled into one. Not that I can talk, because I cannot do accents at all. But yeah, that's on Netflix if you want to check that out. And again, I wouldn't want to be wrapped up in a murder investigation, but I love the idea of having like a little cozy club where you look at cold cases and stuff like that. I love things like that. So I would movify my life by having a Thursday Murder Club. And I also watched A Perfect Pairing, which is super cheesy, Hallmarky type film, which I like. Because I wanted to mention it because I think it's a good example of how watching movies can inspire your travels. I take inspiration from all kinds of things, and TV shows and movies set in certain places are definitely one of them. So this one is set in Australia in the countryside, which is very beautiful, obviously. It's all about wine, hence the perfect pairing, and obviously there's a romantic thing going on there too, so perfect pairing. It has that one Australian dude who is in everything, and I cannot think of his name right now, but he's in all the Australian-based Hallmark movies. But there was one scene in particular. Now, I have been to Australia, but only to like Brisbane and Melbourne, so only like the cities. And I haven't particularly wanted to go there to go into the bush or, into the countryside, because I'm not good with heat, with sunshine, or with creepy crawlies. So probably not the best idea for me particularly. But there was one scene in particular which just, especially as it was in a kind of cheesy Hallmarky type film, that just made me go, oh, wow. And it was a big scene of a big landscape. It was a sunset, like a silhouette of a big tree, and then a silhouette of like the two people. And it was just beautiful, beautifully shot. And that image alone would be enough to convince someone, I think, not me, to jump on a plane and go to Australia. And I just thought, that was just really beautiful. Another one that I haven't watched for years, but I remember watching it and just being like, wow, I have to go to this place, is The Right Kind of Wrong. And again, it's a rom-com, I think. Like I say, it's been a while, but it has, I'm going to say it stars Jason Stackhouse. That's not his name. He was Jason Stackhouse in True Blood. I'm going to have to Google his name because it's going to annoy me. Australian actor. I believe he was in Home and Away. Ryan Quanten. There we go. Also very pretty man. He was in it, and I probably watched it because he was in it, to be honest. Well, it's filmed in Banff, Canada. And it was already on my list, that place, because I'd seen like Lake Louise all the beautiful mountains and lakes, like properly my kind of place. But after watching that, which was filmed there, it went to the top of my list and I hope to go there. I hope that to be my next big trip. The same with, there was a film called La Dolce Villa, I think it was called that. Another rom-com-y thing set in Italy. And it's set in like a really small village town thing in Italy. And it's all about renovating this old crumbling villa. And it makes you want to go there and have the food and the wine and look at the views and roam around these beautiful old places. And I just love how films and TV shows can inspire us to go and have real life adventures. And it does that to me all the time. So yeah, that was my what I've been watching this week segment. Still need to come up with a jingle for that. And I just had to check I was recording. And then I had a horrible moment when I thought I'd been rambling for 5 minutes and hadn't pressed record, but I have, so it's all good. I'm sure you're very pleased that you got to hear that ramble about Australia and Canada. But there we go. Okay, so this week's topic theme is all about action movies. And I have called this episode Segways, Speedboats and Soundtracks, Creating Action Movie Energy in Real Life. Now, I love a good action film. I wouldn't say it's one of my favourite films, but I think it is a really good genre of film to take and try and emulate if you want to movify your life, because it's so obviously, for me anyway, so obviously different to anything I do in my normal life that if I do anything remotely actiony, I immediately feel like I'm in a scene in a movie because it's just so far removed from my usual everyday life of sitting at my laptop and typing and all that kind of stuff. And the idea for this episode came about because recently I went on a Segway for the first time. And this was pretty cool because going on a Segway has been on my bucket list for years. And that sounds ridiculous because you can easily go and book it. But, you just put stuff off, don't you? And my brother had been given a Segway sort of activity for his birthday, I guess, or Christmas. And it was two tickets. So I went along with him and we went to our local forest, Cannock Chase, which is very beautiful. And there's a Go Ape place there with all the like treetop stuff. And you can go on Segways there and you can roam around the forest on these Segways. And they're like big chunky Segways with big wheels to get you around the forest. And like I say, I've never been on a Segway, not even one going around a city or anything. I remember going to Washington, DC in the States and seeing all these businessmen whizzing around on Segways. It was like just what they did. I don't know if they still do it, but it was the way to get around in DC. And I was just like, wow, that looks really fun. So I was really, really excited, but a little nervous, but it was fine. I didn't fall off. There was one guy in our group who hit a tree and fell off and broke the Segway, which wasn't great, but he was fine. So it's okay. And fortunately, that was towards the end of our session anyway, and it had just started thundering, and you're not allowed to go around on Segways with these giant metal poles in the middle of a thunderstorm, strangely enough. So we would have had to stop anyway. Yeah, it was really cool. It was a bit scary because we were on the main path, so there were loads of people wandering around. It was a Sunday afternoon. Loads of people, loads of families, loads of dogs, horses, people on bikes, dogs running around off the lead. I was like, oh, I cannot run over a dog on a Segway. That would be like my worst day ever. No one did, luckily. So that was it felt like the hazard perception test that you do when you're taking your driving test, your theory test. But the main thing, it was a bit scary. There were a couple of times, and they go like 12 miles an hour max, which doesn't sound a lot, but it is a lot when you're on them, whizzing through the chase. And there were a couple of times when my balance wasn't quite right and I thought I was going to fall off and I was, freaking out a little bit. But I think that added to the fun of it. And I'm not an adrenaline junkie by any stretch of the imagination. I'm never going to go skydiving or bungee jumping. No, it makes me feel sick. But I really enjoyed this. This wasn't, it's not quite the same level as skydiving and bungee jumping. There's no falling from heights. So that's the main thing. But when I was whizzing through, we went in a line following our leader. And as I was whizzing through the forest, and it was raining for some of it, and that was actually really fun, just whizzing through the rain in this forest, I felt like I was in an action movie. I know it would be pretty lame to watch an action movie where the main character is like going at 12 miles an hour on a Segway through a forest in the rain, but it felt like I was in an action movie, which is the main thing. And honest to God, I had the Jurassic Park theme going through my head the entire time. And it was a forest, not a jungle, that you would, more associate Jurassic Park with. But I could imagine me whizzing past, dinosaurs coming out. Maybe this is just my overactive imagination, the imagination of a writer, but I could just imagine stuff like that happening. And I really did have the Jurassic Park theme in my head. And because we were sort of spread out quite a bit, and whizzing around, and the Segways make quite a bit of noise. I actually did sing some of the theme song out loud, quite quietly, but I sang it as I was going around, and I was having such a lovely time. It was so much fun. And I've done a few things where I felt like I was in a scene in a movie, or you can imagine if you had some music and some like cool camera angles and, you know, some dramatic dialogue, that you could be in a scene in a movie. So I've gone on a helicopter ride over like the Red Rocks of Colorado. Very cool. I've been in a hot air balloon twice, and both times they had super dramatic landings. Well, nearly landed in a river one time, and then the second time it was like a big one with loads of people in, and it landed and was on its side and everyone was falling out, and it was very dramatic, something like out of a film. I've gone on a speedboat I've been on a few speedboats, but my friend Susie and her husband Andy sort of belong to this boat club, and I went to visit them and they took me out on one of the boat club's speedboats, and I was like, I'm like in a scene from a movie, especially when it's quite choppy and you're sort of going up and down, and like it's just so much fun. So I was thinking about this. I was like, how could we movify our lives to feel like an action movie? And one of the obvious things is to book like an activity that makes you feel like you're in an action movie, and that could be different people. So it could be skydiving, could be bungee jumping, it could be helicopter ride, hot air balloon, could be whizzing through a forest on a Segway, singing the Jurassic theme park song. A theme park song? Did I just say that? The Jurassic Park theme song. Oh dear. I guess it was a theme park originally, but there we go. Going on a boat, especially speedboat, anything sort of fast really, like you can go and hire a car, a racetrack, go around a racetrack in a speed car, a racing car. And I've gone up in a glider as well, like one of those things that you get catapulted up into the sky, and then you find a thermal pocket of air and sort of go around in circles. And it was really fun, but it was really sunny when I went, and going around in circles in a thermal pocket thing with the sun beating down on you, I did feel slightly sick, I won't lie. So that wouldn't have made a great scene if I'd actually barfed, but I didn't. But stuff like that, things completely out of your comfort zone, or just things that you don't generally do on a daily basis. So you can get a lot of these things when you look at like experience days. If you're looking for a gift for someone, you can get those little packs or little booklets with like all kinds of stuff you could book. And, you know, you don't have to buy it for someone else. You could buy it for yourself. Treat yourself to an experience day and have an action adventure day where you feel like you're in an action movie. You could do something like really dramatic, like have flying lessons. You could go parasailing. You could do indoor skydiving if you don't want to do full-on skydiving. Just anything that makes you feel like you're in an action movie, anything that gets your adrenaline going, anything out of the ordinary, anything that, you know, you just feel like you're in a movie. And I mean, there's loads of stuff you can do depending on your different levels of what you're comfortable with. It could be something like paintball or laser tag. You could, you know, it kind of feels like you're in a spy thriller or a dystopian battle scene. And I think I've only done paintball properly once. And I went with my friend Liz from high school, and it was her and all her friends versus her boyfriend, who was several years older, and all his friends, who were all guys, big burly rugby guys, versus us. And oh my God, it did not go well. It was fun, but I had bruises for days, like really gross yellow. I looked like a Simpson character. I was just like all yellow bruises for days. Absolutely knackering, but fun. Laser tag, I always think like I'm in some kind of like future spy thriller. I mean, I haven't done it for years. It's not something I do on a regular basis, but you know, you feel like you're in, I was going to say Tron, a really, really rubbish version of Tron maybe. You know, something a bit futuristic, something a bit thrillery. Zip lining is one thing. I've done a zip line through a forest. It was only a sort of small one. It was when I was at school, but that was really cool. You can do them across canyons. You can do them in like Las Vegas. I think there's one that goes over the strip. Like, how cool is that? There's this place in Wales. My brother went and did a zip line there, like a super huge zip line there. You can imagine the Mission Impossible theme going through your head as you're doing this. Things like indoor climbing walls, if that's sort of out of your element. You can pretend you're Lara Croft or Indiana Jones. Escape rooms. That's one way of doing it. It's like not dangerous, but you can imagine yourself sort of cracking a code before a bomb goes off, you know, like that kind of action movie. Archery, axe throwing, could be like Hunger Games vibes, Viking vibes. I really want to go axe throwing. I have a feeling I would be terrible at it, but if anyone wants to go axe throwing with me, let me know. VR, action games, loads of places popping up now with all kinds of VR games. You could be fighting zombies, sword fighting, pretending you're in the Matrix, that kind of thing. Stuff like kayaking, whitewater rafting. I think I've done both of those things, but like not on a huge extreme scale. And I remember the same place I did the zip line when we were at school, we had to sort of create our own rafts out of like woods and pieces of wood and like barrels, and ours fell apart immediately. Canoeing, like that can feel kind of like you're in an action movie. You could pretend you're going through the jungle, pretend you're Lara Croft, I don't know. Horse riding, quad biking, trampoline parks, that could be cool. You could be like, pretend you're in Matrix flipping around. There's all kinds of things you can do. And as I said, it will depend on what you usually do and what kind of thing scares you. But if it scares you just a little bit or just makes you a bit nervous, I think that adds to it. And yeah, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can also make it feel more like a movie. You don't just have to go around humming the Jurassic Park theme song to yourself. You could actually play some music. If it's safe, if you have headphones or whatever, you could play Mission Impossible, like I said, Jurassic Park, the Bond theme, you know, something really epic and recognizable. And in the moment, you can feel like you're in a movie.
And now, a quick intermission from our feature presentation. Okay, movie star, real talk. Are you tired of feeling like a background extra in your own life? Then it's time to step into the spotlight and activate your main character era. And I've got just the thing to help you do it. Grab my free Movie Star Alter Ego Starter Kit, your behind-the-scenes pass to creating the bold, brave, action-taking version of you who goes after their dreams like the star of a blockbuster. Inside, you'll discover how to design your alter ego, choose your transformational item, pick your theme song, and build the rituals and confidence cues you need to start living your life like the epic movie it was meant to be. So, if you're ready to rewrite your script, roll camera, and finally take the lead, head to movifyyourlife.com/free to download your free starter kit now. That's movifyyourlife.com/free. Your next scene starts today. And now, let's get back to the action.
You can also either film yourself or get someone to film you. Again, if it's safe. We couldn't really film each other going around on Segways because that's just not safe. But if you're doing something where someone can film you, then film it. You can turn it into a little mini movie afterwards. You can add the soundtrack to it. You can do cinematic angles, like get wide shots or like hold your phone like really low or like really high. If you have a GoPro, you can use something like that. You can do like slow-mo clips. You can do like in the edit afterwards, you can make something really cool by making it slow motion. You can dress up for it. Pretend you're in an action movie, like leather jacket, aviators, fingerless gloves. I don't know. Whatever makes you feel like an action hero. I think sunglasses usually helps. If you do make like a little mini movie, you could give it like an actual title. That could be a way. I don't know, Segways, the Great Forest Segway Chase. I don't know. Jurassic Park Segway Madness. I don't know. You could create your own little trailer with like a, movie voice narrator. In a world where one woman braves the Segway safari of doom in the land of dinosaurs. I don't know. I'm going a bit mad now. You can film like before and after, so you can see like the nerves beforehand, the drawing, the adrenaline, the after, the celebration. You can go around fist bumping everyone. I don't know. You could also do like everyday stuff. You could like, if it's raining and you're avoiding going out, just go out in the rain and run through it. Have a laugh. Have a lovely time. You just like dance while no one's watching. Dance with full fight scene energy while cleaning your flat. I don't know. Put a soundtrack on when you're cooking and pretend you're in the bear. Say yes, chef, even if it's to yourself. That's not very actiony, but I'm just thinking of everyday stuff here. Basically, there's all kinds of things you can do to movify your life. And I really like the idea of movifying it like an action movie. Because like I say, that really feels like it's a movie. It's something different to your everyday life. And I highly recommend segwaying, especially if you're doing it through a forest or something. And from now on, it's the law, I think. If you do that, you have to sing the Jurassic Park theme song as you go around. Because it just adds to the fun. Okay, so we have a little segment I'm doing at the end of every episode where I have to take an everyday situation and I let you know how I would movify it. And the idea I came up with this week was doing the weekly food shop at the supermarket. Now, I haven't done this for a while. I do it occasionally, but I generally order online. It's just so much easier and quicker. But I was thinking, how could you movify this? And talking of action movies, I thought you could make it into an action movie, like a heist movie. So like imagine you have a mission, like get in and out under 20 minutes. Only picking up what's on the secret list, like your shopping list. No distractions, no impulse buys. You're like super slick, focused main character with a trolley as your getaway car. You can have dramatic music playing through your head, or literally playing through your speakers through your headphones, avoiding obstacles like slow walkers, the checkout queue. You can have like dramatic moment where you pull off your shades, strut out like you've just cracked the case. I'm trying to like link it back to action films here if you couldn't tell. Just make it super dramatic. But then I thought what I would really do is imagine I'm on Supermarket Sweep. Do you remember that? Dale Winton? And then someone else did it as well. They brought it back. I used to love that show. I think it was just in the UK. I don't know if they did an American version or if it got showed in America or wherever you're listening from. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, it was like a game show where they'd be in a supermarket and there'd be like 3 teams of 2 people. And Dale Winton would ask them questions about supermarket goods. I can't remember. Like guessing the price of supermarket goods, that kind of thing. And then at the end, the team who got the most points, or was it 2 teams who got the most points? I don't know. They went on the big trolley dash bit. It probably had a proper name. But I think, as far as I can remember, the idea was you had however much time you had accrued or whatever to go around the shop and pile your trolley or trolleys with the most expensive things you could find, so that when you checked out, and they were like actual checkout people, the people who checked out the most would win, or they would win that amount of money. I can't quite remember. But they also had really fun things like inflatable bananas and stuff, like hidden around, like jukeboxes, and they would have stickers on, and you would like pull off the sticker and they would be worth so much money. And I just remember thinking how fun that looked. Like as a kid, especially when, you know, you didn't get to do the shopping. You just had to go with your parents and, you know, you couldn't whiz around the aisles with a trolley. The idea of just like flinging stuff into your trolley and trying to spend as much money as possible, I thought it was the most fun thing ever. So you could pretend you're in Supermarket Sweep, maybe not quite as extreme, like you don't want to be trying to buy all the expensive things, but you could give yourself like little challenges if you're there with other people, if you have kids. This is a great way to make shopping more fun. Or if you're a student, you're there with friends, you could put some headphones on, listen to some epic movie music, rush around, try and do it in like, I don't know, try and race the other person, try and do it in as short amount of time as possible, try and spend as less as possible instead of more as possible, make it into a thing. And yeah, why not make boring everyday chores as movified and as fun as possible? I know this sounds super silly, but as I say, I think we need more silly in our lives. Life is too serious. We need fun stuff like this. We need to movify as many things as possible. And I think pretending you're in Jurassic Park or Supermarket Sweep, well, those are two extremes, aren't they, on the other end of the scale? But I think they can both be as fun as each other. And yeah, have fun. Book something cool. Don't wait for someone to buy it for you as a birthday present or a Christmas present. Like, we're adults, we're allowed to buy these things for ourselves. So let's do it. I might have a look at like gift ideas and buy myself something. Who knows? But yeah, let me know if you do any of this and pretend you're in an action movie, because it would be good to know there are people out there as random as I am. And also, I just want to spread the fun and make people have fun. Let people have fun, not make people have fun. That sounds a bit controlling. When I was traveling in a big group tour, and they used to like schedule activities, and you felt like you had to go to them all. Me and my friends, there was about 5 of us, me and my friend Ruth, and then a few people we met on there. We formed our own little like clique, and we were the FFUNF brigade, FFINF. Forced fun is no fun. And whenever they would try and get us to do something that we had no interest in whatsoever, we would raise our fists and go, FFUNF, we're going to do our own thing. Not quite in the, you know, what you're meant to do as a group tour, but, you know, a month with the same people, it can get a lot. So we started doing our own thing after a while. Not all the time, just sometimes. But for fun, yes, I'm not forcing you to have fun, but I am encouraging you to go out there and have fun and pretend you're in an action movie. So that's it for this week. Thank you for listening as ever. Please share, subscribe, like, or no, whatever you do these days on podcasts. Share the episode if you think someone else might have fun listening to this. And until next Movify Monday, that's a wrap. I'll see you on the red carpet.
Thank you so much for listening to the Movify Your Life show. Before you go, don't forget to sign up for the main character memo mailing list at movifyyourlife.com/list for exclusive tips, treats, and behind-the-scenes magic. And if you enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate it if you could please subscribe, leave a review, or share this podcast with a friend. Let's spread that Movify message far and wide, because everyone deserves to live an epic life fit for the big screen. I'll see you next week for another Movify Monday. Until then, that's a wrap.